Happening now, a local elementary school teacher has tested positive for COVID-19. Plus, what Governor Cuomo's new book leaves out about his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Sunny skies downtown Jamestown right now. I'll have the full forecast details coming up. The news at noon starts right now.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
And thanks for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. A teacher at Southwestern Central Schools Elementary has tested positive for COVID-19. Superintendent Maureen Donahue announced the news during a Board of Education meeting last night. She says the case was first reported last Friday and a contact tracing investigation began immediately. Currently, school leaders say 24 people, all of whom made contact with the teacher outside of the school setting, are now waiting for their test results.
I think it's very challenging, and I think everybody's working really hard to make it work. We want our kids to be safe. Everybody wears a mask. We try our best to keep a 6-feet distance. We've reduced the density in our building, and we have a very controlled schedule.
The superintendent says at this point, students will continue to learn in person. However, teachers will now hold internal meetings via Zoom to limit their contact. This is the first case of coronavirus in the Southwestern Central School District. Chautauqua County officials reported 5 new cases of COVID-19 yesterday afternoon. They say 92 active cases continued to recover under orders of the local public health law. Those new cases include people from Jamestown, Lakewood, Celeron, Westfield, and Fredonia. 10 people remain hospitalized because of the virus. There are now 796 total cases, with 691 of them recovering and 13 related deaths. Now, since the outbreak started, leaders have recorded over 51,000 negative test results for COVID-19. Democrats tried to get Amy Coney Barrett to tip her hand on issues like the Affordable Care Act, abortion rights, and potential dispute in the upcoming election during testimony on Capitol Hill. But as Karen Kaifa reports, the Supreme Court nominee declined, citing the late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg approach to her 1993 hearings: no hints, no previews.
Supreme Court nominee Amy Coney Barrett seeking to assure senators she'll maintain judicial independence.
I made no promises to anyone. I have no agenda.
Just 3 weeks before Election Day, Barrett faced questions from members of the Senate Judiciary Committee about possible election-related disputes involving the president who nominated her.
Are you able to commit to recuse yourself from disputes that arise out of the 2020 presidential election?
I will apply the factors that other justices have before me in determining whether the circumstances require my recusal or not.
And the Affordable Care Act at the center of a case to be argued on November 10th.
135 million Americans with pre-existing conditions are now depending on the protections of the Affordable Care Act. What weight would you give that?
I can't really give you the kind of commitment or pre-commitment that you're asking from me.
Judge Barrett also declined to preview how she might rule on cases involving abortion rights.
Do you agree with Justice Scalia's view that Roe can and should be overturned by the Supreme Court?
I can't express views on cases or pre-commit to approaching a case any particular way.
She got personal, describing discussions she had with her husband about her nomination.
We had to decide whether those difficulties would be worth it, because what sane person would go through that if there wasn't a benefit on the other side?
In Washington, I'm Karen Kaifa.
Karen, thank you. Today's hearing is the third of a 4-day process where the Judiciary Committee is expected to vote on the nomination tomorrow morning. New York's governor condemned the federal government's COVID response and lauded his own leadership efforts in a new book released this week that offers a few new details, but not many, about New York's battle against this pandemic. Governor Andrew Cuomo's book, American Crisis: Leadership Lessons from the COVID-19 Pandemic, delivers a retelling of his efforts to contain the virus as it ravaged the state in early spring. In it, Cuomo describes trying to pacify President Trump in order to get needed hospital beds, ventilators, and other supplies for the state. He detailed the state's success at rapidly ramping up testing capacity and his worry that New Yorkers wouldn't heed his call to stay home and avoid a catastrophic surge in hospitalizations. Now, as for his mistakes, the governor only conceded a few. Among them, he says he wanted to long mandate masks wearing in New York. And other problems with New York's virus response got less ink, including the state's struggles to keep nursing homes safe and to provide a good amount of protective gear or staff. We thank you for joining us here for WNY News Now as we make our way halfway through the week. Let's check in with the comments and say hello to Joseph. Hopefully you're doing well. Great to see you here. Good to see Heather, David, Liz, Brenda, and Jody as well. Good afternoon to Ashley, Scott, and Amanda. Hopefully everyone is having a great day out there. Now let's get a check of our First Defense weather forecast. Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter's out this week. That's where we find Andrew Stevenson filling in. Hey Andrew, happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. We are halfway through the week now. Can you believe the weekend is almost here yet again? Yesterday, the high temperature was 56 degrees yesterday. The average is still at 61. The record, 83 degrees set back in 1930. The record low of 18 degrees set back in 1987. Let's take a look at the weather breakdown. We have a beautiful day in store today. Plenty of sunshine to go around. The clouds will begin to increase tomorrow afternoon as a cold front approaches the area. The winds will also begin to increase tomorrow ahead of that front. That strong cold front will bring in rain showers and much cooler air for the end of the week, where temperatures today and tomorrow will be in the mid-60s. Friday and Saturday, temperatures will struggle to make it out of the upper 40s. So this afternoon's forecast out there, plenty of sunshine out there today, whether you're in the lakeshore or inland, mostly sunny skies, a beautiful autumn day out there. Low 60s towards lakeshore and the mid-60s as you head inland with a light west wind at 5 to 10 miles per hour. I'll have that full forecast detail coming up in just a couple of moments. Justin, back to you.
All right, Andrew, looking forward to it. Thank you. Americans who receive Social Security will see a small bump in their monthly checks starting in January. The Social Security Administration says the payments will go up by 1.3% to account for the rising costs of living. That means the average monthly check will increase by $20 to $1,500. Those who receive Social Security disability benefits will see an extra $16 a month. But for many seniors, those amounts won't cover the growing costs of groceries and other expenses. The agency also announced new taxable income thresholds on which American workers will owe the 6.2% Social Security payroll tax. Starting next year, the first 124,800 of those wages will be part of that tax. About 70 million Americans currently receive Social Security benefits. Well, Chautauqua County's public defender Ned Barone spent time during his hour-plus-long budget presentation last week praising the work that his office has done this year despite a list of challenges his staff has faced. Barone says that his office is handling one of the highest caseloads in New York State outside of New York City, explaining that the caseloads continue to increase in both the criminal and family court divisions. Now, despite that, Barone says his office has one of the highest acquittal rates in the state. The public defender says those rankings are a testament to the work of his staff.
So if you take a look at what our budget was, let's say in 2012 to what it is now, you haven't seen hardly any increase at all. And the services my department provides, there's not a comparison to where we were when I first came on. Not a comparison. The services, and that's one thing I'm very proud of, is that even though our local share has remained the same, we've been able to provide services to double the caseload.
Barone says he's seeking an increase in his staff by 5 full-time positions. He says those include 2 paralegals, 2 secretaries, and a clerk. However, he says that the increase would be covered by a grant from the Indigent Legal Services rather than the county. Coming up next, an update on the race for president, what the candidates will be doing instead of a second debate this week. But first, we tell you how long a Forestville man will spend behind bars following a decision in court yesterday. Stay with us as WNY News Now continues.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
As a former county executive, I know exactly the challenges and opportunities that we have here in Chautauqua County. That's why I'm very proud to support P.J. Wendell for county executive. His knowledge, his experience, and his leadership are exactly what we need at this moment in time. I would ask you all to please support P.J. Wendell for county executive.
Wendell has the experience, he's got the leadership, and he's got the knowledge and ability.
One of the most important characteristics of a successful county executive is being able to surround themselves with the right people for the right situation. And that is exactly what P.J. Wendell has done. Having direct experience in county government is absolutely critical, and no one should start out as county executive with having no experience at all with county government. So P.J. Wendell brings that experience both as a long-term legislator and a former chairman of the legislature. He has my 100% support.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvanna Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer, plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
For the past 9 years, I've been a prosecutor right here in Chautauqua County, fighting to keep this community safe. My family lives here with me in Fredonia, and I grew up in Sherman, New York. Fighting to make sure that these communities stay safe is so very important to me. We have the highest caseload of any county in this state, and as your district attorney, I'm dedicated to making sure that each case gets handled the right way for not only the victims, but for the people that live in this county. I'm fully invested in this community, and I'm fully invested in this community's future. Vote Patrick Swanson for Chautauqua County District Attorney.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
And welcome back. A Forestville man will serve 20 years in prison after he was convicted of receipt and possession of child pornography. The U.S. Attorney's Office says that 53-year-old Richard Miller was also sentenced to lifetime supervised release by a U.S. district judge yesterday. Between 2006 and 2009, prosecutors say Miller produced child pornography by filming himself engaged in a sexual act with a minor. Between January 2016 and March of 17, Miller and co-defendant Joseph Harvey then exchanged those images and engaged in illicit discussions regarding it. In addition, a search of the residence shared by the defendants revealed multiple electronic devices that contained child porn. Harvey was previously convicted and sentenced to serve 96 months behind bars. President Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden will hold competing town halls tomorrow night after the cancellation of their second presidential debate. Trump's event with NBC News is scheduled for 8 p.m. in Miami. It will compete with an ABC town hall featuring Democrat presidential nominee Joe Biden. Trump and Biden were originally scheduled to participate in the second presidential debate that night. However, Trump objected to a virtual format announced by the Commission on Presidential Debates after he tested positive for COVID-19. Well, as a result, the debate was eventually canceled. Weeks before that election, the FBI is sending out a warning. Scammers, cybercriminals, and foreign actors could be targeting voters nationwide. Our Mandy Gaither has more on what to look out for.
Just when you think this election couldn't get more chaotic, the FBI and the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency are warning about spoofed URLs and email domains that could pose a risk to voters. Officials say scammers are using fraudulent websites and email addresses posing as legitimate election resources that could easily dupe victims into giving away their personal information or infect their computer with malware. To avoid becoming a victim, the FBI says to carefully check the spelling of web addresses, websites, and email addresses. Oftentimes, scammers use a .com instead of a .gov or misspell words. Seek out information from trustworthy sources. Make sure your computer and antivirus software are updated. Remove unneeded software apps. Use a strong two-factor authentication. Don't open emails or attachments from someone you don't know, and never give out any personal information via email. Many emails requesting that will appear to be legitimate. For Consumer Watch, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Mandy, thank you. The FBI is also encouraging the public to report any suspicious or criminal activity to their local field office or to the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center. Well, bald is beautiful, and today's the perfect day to recognize it because it's Be Bald and Be Free Day, also known as Bald and Free Day. The day recognizes the beauty of the naked scalp, and for those who aren't bald, to take pride in it. Baldness can be partial or, for some, total, the result of genes, up to environment, or by choice to achieve a certain look or beat natural baldness to the punch. The day is also a day to stand in solidarity with those coping with baldness as a result of medical treatment, such as chemotherapy. One way to mark the day is to shave your head if you're not already bald. You can post all your selfies to social media using the hashtag BeBaldAndBeFreeDay. Certainly, baldness does run in my family, so I'm going to hold on to this as long as I can. Let us know what you think about in the comments down below. Andrew, you have a luscious head of hair, so I think you're probably free from baldness at this point. But do you know any bald relatives?
My immediate family? Not off the top of my head, no, I don't.
Well, then, hey, you're good to go.
I keep that little swoop going.
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
I'm trying to do it this way because on camera it switches, so I'm going this way and it's supposed to be that way.
Yeah, you know, I always think men have it easy. Women, unfortunately, especially in our business, is hard because everybody has them under the microscope. My girlfriend and I were joking before last Thursday's debate, because I was all like, oh, you know, what am I going to wear? And I'm going through all my stuff. And she's like, honestly, nobody probably looks at it. But I think baldness, though, that really touches a chord with some people. I know I had a friend in high school who, bless his heart, at 22, he's already like starting to have thinning hair. And it's the genes, I think. And it is a tough subject, and especially when you get into, you know, cancers and things like that. Such a hard thing to do. But at the end of the day, it's just a look is simply that, just a look. It's not really about what's in here. So. Good to see Dave. He says, "Buzz it." Don't touch my hair, Dave. Good to see Joseph. He says, "I'll keep the gray." Good to see Amanda. Good to see Craig. And good to see Linda as well. Hopefully everyone is having a good day. We thank you for joining us. Well, let's move on past the baldness and get to our weather forecast with Andrew. And I hope you have quite the hairy display for weather.
Yeah. Well, if you look, behind me, I'll show you coming up in just a minute. Buffalo radar's back up and running. It's been down for about a week now, but I noticed it just came on about an hour ago, so I'll have a live scan of the radar coming up in just a moment. Right now, outside downtown Jamestown, it is 57 degrees out there with a west wind at 10 miles per hour, dew point at 36, the visibility at 10 miles. Speaking of radar, the Buffalo radar is back up and running, and it has clear scans on there. Nothing going on out there, so it's nice to have the radar back, and we don't have to use the Cleveland radar or State College, but luckily we didn't have any severe weather to deal with. So let's take a look at future scan for the next 36 hours. So today is going to be clear. Now FutureScan is trying to show some rain showers later this afternoon. That's not going to happen. But as we head into tomorrow, the clouds will begin to increase. And as you can see, we head into tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening, that cold front is going to begin to approach the area, moving through probably tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening. It looks like after that cold front moves through, it will be windy and we'll be left with some lake effect rain showers headed into Friday as FutureScan tries to pick that up. So yesterday I mentioned that the National Weather Service is going to have their winter training, and I updated the graphic so it fits more with winter training. That is coming up on October 29th at 7 p.m. from the National Weather Service in Buffalo. If you'd like to register, go to weather.gov/Buffalo/Skywarn. I updated that after the news yesterday, so it looks better with the winter background. So zone forecast, most areas today will be partly cloudy, temperatures in the low to mid 60s. Corey, Mayville, 62 degrees, Jamestown, 64. Most areas will be in the low to mid 60s. Same thing as we head towards Lakeshore. Maybe a little cooler out there, Erie at 64, but plenty of sunshine with the low to mid 60s out there. Forecast for tonight, partly cloudy skies, 52 in the valleys, 58 near the Lakeshore. It will become breezy mainly towards Lakeshore as a warm front will approach heading into tomorrow before that cold front, so it will become breezy overnight. So the 7-day forecast now coming up, brought to you by 42 degrees and sunny. Today is going to be beautiful. Cold front will move through, but before that it will warm up. Temperatures in the mid to upper 60s. That cold front moves through, and it's going to be cooler for Friday and the Saturday, but we begin to warm up just a tad bit as we head into the second half of the weekend and into next week, and it looks sunny for the second half of the weekend as of now. Justin?
Oh, I love it, Andrew. Thank you. Coming up next, an important recall for those of us with furry friends. Stay with us as WNY News Now continues.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
First Defense Weather is sponsored by 42 Degrees and Sunny, smokin' deals on smoking accessories. Learn more at 42degreesandsunny.com. That's 42degreesandsunny.com.
Hi, I'm George Borrello, and I'm proud to serve as your senator for New York's 57th Senate District. In fact, in my first year, I've passed many pieces of legislation as well as helping people and businesses in these challenging times. From fighting for a safe, common-sense reopening of our state's economy during the COVID-19 pandemic to continuing the push for the repeal of the state's flawed criminal justice changes, which have made us all less safe, I am working hard for you every day as your state senator. Your vote will help me continue my mission to boost New York's economy, struggling from the COVID shutdown, and for small businesses not just to survive, but thrive. I will also continue to hold the government accountable by reviewing policies that led to the tragic nursing home deaths statewide. I'm proud to represent our beautifully diverse region, and I will be honored to have your vote on Tuesday, November 3rd, so that I can continue my work fighting for you. It's not about rhetoric, it's about results.
Paid for by Borrello for Senate.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
If you have pets, listen up. A recent dog food recall has expanded to include more products. Sunshine Mills has added several more brands of dog food to its voluntary recall. Some of the brands are Champ, Field Trail, and Good Dog, but there are a few others. The affected products were produced between April 3rd and April 5th of this year, and they contain corn with elevated levels of naturally occurring mold. There are no reports of pets getting sick, but it could be harmful to animals if consumed in large amounts. If you do happen to have some at your house, you can check the product's code at fda.gov to see if yours is included. You should be able to return it if it's unused for a full refund. Well, for many, 2020 has brought unexpected stress. People are dealing with the pandemic and the economic and social upheaval related to it. As Meredith Wood explains, for those who suffer from mental illness, stress can often bring on some serious symptoms.
As the pandemic continues, doctors are concerned about the rise of mental health and substance abuse disorders, and not just among those with existing illnesses. As of August, nearly 41% of adults surveyed by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reported struggling with mental health issues.
We see increases in the rates in which people are reporting depressed mood, trouble sleeping, changes in appetite and energy, worry, anxiety, and grief in the setting of the pandemic.
But this isn't unusual, according to Dr. Josh Gordon, director of the National Institute of Mental Health. He says increases in symptoms have been seen during other national crises, like extreme weather events and 9/11.
The pandemic is lasting considerably longer than the aftermath of all but the most severe disasters, and so we can anticipate potentially a more significant impact in terms of mental health.
Medical experts are now bracing for what they are calling a second wave of mental health devastation. This increase will likely overwhelm the mental health care system. And the most vulnerable population are the most at risk: frontline essential workers and people of lower socioeconomic groups. To help alleviate this stress on the mental health medical community, more funding is needed to screen and treat those at the highest risk. For today's Health Minute, I'm Meredith Wood.
Meredith, thank you. If you do need assistance, you can call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK. The number is 1-800-273-TALK. Well, Microsoft is planning to allow some employees to work from home permanently. The company announced new flexible guidelines, including work hours and location. Now, once the pandemic is over, Microsoft says the standard will be working from home less than 50% of the time, with a manager's approval. Now, most employees have been working from home at Microsoft since March 1st. And certainly we can attest to that here at WNY News Now. A lot of our staff is working from home, and something that is actually working pretty well. Let us know what you think about all that in the comments down below. We'd love to hear your feedback. And I think that's one of the biggest things, Andrew, is companies are finding new ways to reinvent themselves. And I know for you, for example, with doing weekend weather normally, you're able to remote connect right into the office, and pretty much you have all the resources available that you would being here.
Yeah, just hook up, and it's interesting. I didn't know that was possible until they told me about that, and I could just do the weather article straight from home, hooking up to the computers here. It's very interesting how far technology has come.
Oh yeah, I know. During the pandemic, like in the newsroom, when we're finally starting to get back to kind of not full capacity, but I think full capacity with the new normal. But you know, I would go home in the afternoons and work. I thought it was weird. They'd have me come in the morning, do the show, and then I'd work from home in the afternoons. And it's almost better, I think, because, you know, who is to say there's not other things I could do as long as I do the news? And I think that's the directive that we kind of have, is, and a lot of companies are looking at, is saying, you know what, as long as you get your job done, it doesn't matter what else you do during your time during the day. And it's so interesting because there's some jobs where you can't work from home, but others where it's absolutely fine. So it'll be interesting to see what goes forward. And Microsoft, one of the big ones, saying, you know, we can do it remotely. And I know in the news information business, it's a no-brainer, right? We work remotely all the time. We work from the field, we work from our homes. You know, I've wrote stories, you know, in my bedroom when I first wake up. If I see something that I'm like, oh, this is big news, I should do this right now. And that is different than, say, someone who works at a restaurant or a clothing store, but say you're financial support for one of those places, or billing or something. Maybe you can do it from home, so it'll be interesting nevertheless. Well, let's get a check of our final weather forecast now with Mr. Stevenson. And I know you just mentioned exciting news that the radar is back online. That's a big tool for everybody, something that a lot of times we can get in the palm of our hand pretty often too, speaking of working from home.
Yeah, you see right behind me the Buffalo radar back up and running, so I was happy to see that when it came back on like 15 minutes before I started putting the show together, so I'm scrambling to put that in the last second. So if you have any afternoon plans out there today, you should have no troubles out there. Plenty of sunshine to go around. Temperatures low to mid 60s right on through today. Sunshine, so get outside. Maybe walk your dog out there because it's going to rain tomorrow afternoon and we got cooler weather on the way. So you might want to get out and enjoy that sunshine.
Yeah, certainly will try, Andrew. I think I'll make that on my agenda this afternoon. Thank you. That's going to do it for us today. Of course, news 24/7 at WNYNewsNow.com. We leave you with this live look over Chautauqua Lake. We're back tomorrow here at noon. Hope to see you then.